Welcome everyone, my name is Travis and I'm going to give you a tutorial on how to animate a background image. This isn't originally mine idea. I actually got this from a fellow YouTuber, but I did modify some of the code in a later example I'm going to show you. But anyways, the idea is to take this background image and to animate it so it keeps going to the left or to the right, depending on how you set it up, and I'm going to show you that here in this video. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to create an HTML document like we did here. Let me go ahead and do this here. And the only HTML you're going to need is a div tag. Give it an ID of whatever you want. In this case, I'm going to call it header. And as far as styling tags, the only thing you're going to style the header with is some width, some height, margin, only because it's in the middle. Background image. Wherever you reference your images with your folder, in my case I call it images, and background repeat X. Okay, so that's all you need, and you probably notice this right here. This is jQuery. If you don't know where to get jQuery, I'll probably put a link in the bottom of this video, but you can simply go to Google, type in jQuery, Google, and hit enter. Enter the Google developers. It's towards the middle. And it says right on there, jQuery. And you just copy and paste that link right in here. But when you copy and paste that link, understand though that it does not come with this HTTP part. It comes with everything afterwards. So be sure to put the HTTP part in there so it does work correctly. Okay, now we're ready for the actual jQuery itself. So, first thing you want to do is you want to create what's called a document.ready function. It's standard with jQuery. And that's all you're going to do, simply put. This document.ready function, basically what happens is if you have a bunch of elements on your page, when I say elements I'm referring to whether it be div tags, paragraph tags, tables, iframes, images, whatever. If you have a bunch of elements on your page, they load first, and then your jQuery/JavaScript gets processed afterwards. So you always want to put this in here. If you didn't put it in there, what you might get an undesired result. Your jQuery might run first before all the elements render, and what you're trying to achieve will not happen. So you always want to go and make sure you put this statement in here. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to call an anonymous function, just like so. And inside this function, we're going to put a dollar symbol in here. Stands for every time we have this dollar symbol, it's going to equal jQuery for us. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that right now. Type in jQuery. That way we ain't got to type it in here every single time. Okay, first I want to declare a variable var x equals 0 and var y equals 0. And what this simply is doing for me is I'm going to create some x and y coordinates, and I want x to be 0 and y to be 0 to initialize it. And I figured that's a pretty good name for those variables. Then I'm going to name a variable called var BGIMG, standing for background image, equals the dollar symbol, and I want to put a number symbol, header, and the reason why we put header because that's what we called our div in our HTML, if you remember. I want to call my BG image back again, .css, and I'm going to type in background dash position, which is a CSS styling rule. That's basically what jQuery is. It's just like if you know CSS pretty well, then jQuery will come naturally. X plus I want pixels plus an empty set plus y some more pixels, which I messed up there. Okay, and you simply want to end that tag right here. I'm going to create another thing called timer equals set interval, because I want to set some time for this to run on, and that's inside a function. Just like so. And then I'm going to simply copy and paste this. Inside here. What this does is initially sets it to 0, 0 pixels position, and this is going to set an interval for it to move every time. And why is it going to do that? Because I'm going to decrement it every time using the x minus lingo there. And what x minus minus is, it's the same thing as x equals x minus 1. So it's the same thing if you're confused by that. And you're simply, at this time, you're pretty well done. You just want to end all of your statements here. I'm going to go ahead and save. Oh, and I forgot to put a time on here. That's what I need to do. Put 45 seconds, or 45 milliseconds. There we go. And as you can see, the page is rendering the way we want it to. If you notice, the background is moving from left to right. A small change of this code, if I were to say, for example, put plus plus, it would go the other way. Now, you see a problem here. And what that is it's when you're creating an image through a graphic artist type of program, whether it be Paint or, I don't know, Photoshop or something like that, you want to try to create something that is smooth all the way around, doesn't have, that could be repeated forever. So you kind of want to watch out what kind of images you do this with. So I'm going to get saved like this and let it go for a while. Now, if we want it to stop at a certain point, it's really simple. We could put an if statement in here. Our test condition is, our test condition is what we're going to do is we want it to reach a certain part, and I don't know, after that I guess we'll be sure to stop it. So if x equals, let's say, I don't know, negative, I don't know, 145, I guess. So when it gets to negative 145 pixels, because you remember x equals pixels because of this, right? Then I want to clear interval. I want to put my timer in here, like so. So if I were to save this, it should stop eventually. Let's see if it does. And it does. So if you want to stop, that's what you would do. And that's pretty much it. But I want to show you, that's kind of boring though. So what I want to do is I want to show you how I incorporated that into a website that I'm in the process of creating. Let me go ahead and show you guys. Let's say you create a Let's Play website, such as this one. If you guys know what a Let's Play website, it's people who make walkthroughs for video games on YouTube. See how you have the background image that's scrolling like this? So this is kind of nice, and in fact I had an image here that generally goes on for a long time and is able to continuously do this without any noticeable difference. You see a little bit of notice there, which I need to get with my graphics editor. I just didn't do it because I was doing this in a rush. So this would be like a regular person who's got some, Let's Plays on here or something. And if you want to do something somewhat impressive and put an image like this. However, I also put a whole entire level on here. I think that looks kind of neat. So the person that goes to your website, I think, will be wowed by this. I think it's something to put in your toolbox. And like I promised before, this is not something I originally did, although the if statement is something that I altered on this. In this particular example, this is the end of the level. I believe I set the if statement. I think I did. So it's going to end right here. Let's see if it does. Sure enough, it does. It ends right here. So it goes through like the entire level like that, and I think that's kind of neat. But anyways, I'm going to show you guys where I got this idea from. If you go to jQuerydemos.com / animate background image ASPX, I'll put the link below. This is where I got the code from. These people have some very nice tutorials, more than just this. Like I said, they don't have the if statement in here. I added all that stuff myself. However, if you wanted, see, I did it with the x-axis, but if you want to do y, you could have simply put y minus minus instead of x minus minus if you wanted to go vertically instead. And also, I want to show you where I got my other image from. That's one. But also, this is where I got the image from. As part of our licensing terms, they wanted me to quote the author, so here's the author. It's from Newgrounds, and this is where I got the picture from. And this is where I got the image for the level. I modified it a little bit to get rid of this bottom stuff, but this is where I got the level for in this example right here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I think it's kind of neat, and maybe you guys can incorporate this in your own personal blog. So I guess I'll see you next time. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next time, but maybe I'll show how to make a entire website using div statements or div tags. So see you then.